Welcome to Nerds Against Normality, your favourite podcast to hang out with your fellow nerds like me, Stacey Bowles, the more successful sequel, Harry Bowles.
Hello.
And the third, less popular one of the franchise, Ben Sheridan.
Hi.
Right, today we're going to do a debate question. So we've already done 2, and so now it's my turn to host. I have got a question for you both, which is, what is the best trilogy? Now, there's a lot of generic answers here, which I'm sure a lot of people are grabbing at.
You know immediately what I'm going to say.
Dora the Explorer box set.
Absolutely. So I know you both very well, so I have banned the following: no Star Wars, no Star Wars whatsoever, no Lord of the Rings, because let's face it, it's the best, sorry, and no Back to the Future, because that would have been Stacey's go-to, so I've crippled it.
I just can't look at you right now. We all know that Back to the Future is the best trilogy of all time.
Yeah, this is I've taken it off of you because
it's just
I knew
not
you'd
correct.
Yeah, you'd lose.
There's going to be murders. This is the last podcast we're ever recording.
This one may never get released.
The podcast that never made.
We're going to talk about one that was never ever released because of the amount of swearing and the amount of insults that were thrown.
All right. Also, if it has had more than 3 in the franchise, I am willing to cut it off at film 3. That is a trilogy. It's the same with, like, if I allowed Lord of the Rings, I would allow Lord of the Rings because people then go, but The Hobbit. No, The Hobbit is its own trilogy. Lord of the Rings is its own trilogy. That's how we're rolling.
You could have gone Star Wars 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, or you could have
4,
gone
5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah. It's
Rogue One, Clone Wars, novelizations, various tie-ins, Bad Batch, Acolyte. No, never mind.
So I guess I will ask you both to reveal your trilogies. What have you gone for, Stacey?
Okay, I am going with an all-time classic. It's got everything. It's got action. It's got philosophy. It's got spoon bending. That's right, The Matrix. I'm going with The Matrix.
No.
I think some people tend to say that the second film isn't as robust as the other 2.
Some people.
Just some.
Some.
But I would say that you need the second film to build...
For a trilogy, I agree.
the great finale.
Let me write this down.
Yeah. There needs to be more than one film. Goodfellas is going to have to come off the list.
You need the second film to build up to the third film and the great finale.
Okay. And a brief summary for yourself.
I'm going
into it.
I'm going with what is considered one of the best modern trilogies of this time. I'm going with the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah. Never heard of it.
Shut up. Because since we've gone into this era of films, and I will say to my opponent, The Matrix was one of my thoughts, because I'm going to have to be controversialist to try and beat you in this, but I also think it's quite a good trilogy.
Well, I think we'll leave it.
No.
We know who's won.
No. But in terms of modern trilogies, that each one of them has been rated very well and has kind of set the bar incredibly high for not just their genre of film, but for all film, I would say the Dark Knight trilogy is up there and one of the best.
Okay, so we've got our contenders. Stacey, why would I pick The Matrix over The Dark Knight? I've just landed on Earth in my TARDIS.
That's a reference to
another podcast.
That's a reference to either last week or maybe a year ago.
Yeah. Or in the future.
In the future, who knows?
Can I check if it's made of Lego?
Yeah, that's also the same episode. Good stuff.
Really
Good stuff. Yeah. So I've crash landed on Earth. I need movies. I need a good trilogy. Why am I picking yours?
So,
first of all, after you've passed quarantine because you're a visitor from another Earth, and that's mind blowing.
Yeah.
We're like, holy shit! There's life there's life among the stars.
Never mind that. Tell me about the films.
Yeah, absolutely. And he sounds a lot taller in. He sounds a lot taller in the comms.
What does he sound old?
So The Matrix, I think. So the thing about I hate to go into this early and poo-poo my opponent here, but I think The Dark Knight, they're a great set of films, but you watch them and then you move on from them. I think The Matrix leaves you with questions that you're forever thinking
Are you
about.
going to go into a Shrek onion argument?
Yeah, there's so many layers.
It's got a donkey.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Turned out
Mike Myers is in it.
But I think there are so many questions that leaves you thinking. There are so many bits that you want to repeat. You know, you're probably not going to repeat the moment with a pencil in the eyeball. Just suggesting that's not a great thing to do with your friends.
Strange. For a trilogy you moved on from, you seem to go to a very specific part of it.
But you might have fun choosing whether you choose the red pill or the blue pill. You're always going to be thinking about that.
Who else thinks that they're both the same pill, just in different cases?
Oh, this is that Matrix in the Matrix theory thing.
Yeah.
See, so many theories we're unpicking.
Do I take the red pill or do I take Viagra? on one hand, I can see how deep the rabbit hole goes. On the other hand, I've got an erection that won't go down for hours. I know which one I'm picking.
How do we know that we're not sitting around recording this podcast and really we're all in completely separate pods? You're in pod 231, level A.
That's a good number to be in.
No?
Yeah,
It's prime real estate, and in the bloody economy we're in at the moment in this simulation, I can't afford a house.
You don't need one. You don't even need food.
I think people would argue you might need a house.
Okay, you're getting really away from the point here.
If you're homeless, write in. Let us know if you need houses.
Yeah.
If you'd like to set up a Patreon for us and give one of us a house, please.
It's got amazing action scenes in it. Neo is a really great protagonist as well. He's king of the nerds. So, hello.
Neo is, or Keanu is?
Both, probably. But Neo as a character, he's like, you know, our boring office 9-to-5er who likes to hack in his spare time. Who doesn't? And he becomes this incredible comic book figure by the end of it. So that's really cool. In the second film, which is somewhat thought of as not the strongest between the other two,
I love a lot of setup.
it's great. It's a great amount.
That's what I love about. That's what I really love about part ones of films is that all the setup.
But I really like the way it opens the world into seeing more of the machine world and how humans are living of today. Not only that, but the two twins in it are from Kent.
Are they?
Yes.
Where are they from?
Dartford, I think.
They're from Dartford. Something they can steal a car really easily.
What more?
Great knife work.
What more do you want in a film?
Oh, the one, yeah, two of the most twins.
I'm not saying that anyone from Dartford. Just a full disclosure.
Because Harry's a coward, but I am. The two twins, Chaz and Gav, want to come at me.
With their white feeters on.
Cans of Stella in hand.
They're travelling down the Dartford crossing with agents chasing behind them at all times.
Not with that toll. Really expensive now.
Can't do that when you're signing on.
Yeah. Like they've got a car.
It's got, you know, loads of parts about philosophy with
Which bit?
Morpheus,
Yeah.
and it's also got the Keymaker in it. What a great character.
Okay, you keep mentioning the philosophy a bit. What's the philosophy in number 2? What philosophy is in there?
Morpheus talks about the great saviour and the potential return and who that might be and what it looks like, and the belief that Neo is the one.
Okay. So is that what? Is that just blind faith though, not philosophy? I don't remember the philosophy bit. I don't remember the philosophy bit when they're doing the giant barefoot rave immediately cut into a sex scene. Don't know what philosophy you were thinking of in that part, but
you gotta have a bit of nudity. No.
When you're doing good philosophy, you need a good bit of nudity.
It's got everything.
Okay.
And also, you know, the crossover between Agent Smith in the fake world versus the new world, and you know what that whole kind of imagery around what that means. And then when we come to the third film, some of the action scenes are shot for shot on what a comic book would look like. It's very stylistic. It's everything you want in a nerdy classic.
Okay.
Just to be devil's advocate here, what would you say about downgrade in special effects from 2 to from the first one? I'm going to ask questions for both of you, but that is a nitpick when I was watching my first ever trilogy.
That's a feature, sure. But
and I'd say, how do you know a lot about CGI and nuance? Creature from another world.
The thing, well, you have to kind of excuse that a little bit. It's not the greatest, but if you remember the iconic, and I should have mentioned it when talking about the first film, the bullet scene was groundbreaking technology of its time. Yes, it could have done better in the second film, but it brings it back in the third film. I also hasten to point out the two things that you really love about it, which is its use of amazing music, Rob Zombie being in the second film, I think. Oh, it is the first film.
Oh, that's the one olive branch I'll give you here.
But yeah, absolute classic. Great soundtrack. And also, and I am aware of the films that Ben's picked, but it led to two of the greatest video games of all time. Enter the Matrix and the Path of Neo.
Well, I'm just going to interject here. We played Into the Matrix maybe 6 months ago.
Greatest of its time.
Okay. It is a product of its time. Anyone thinking that it's a great game, leave it in the memory because it is janky.
It's a little bit janky.
If rough around the edges is really nice.
That's the Matrix, isn't it? Playing tricks on you when you completely when you T-pose and go through the wall. That's just the Matrix dealing with you, man. It's just the Matrix.
Yeah. So I could go on. I could go on endlessly.
Is there any major points you want to bring up? Anything else, really, why I should pick your one?
The only other thing I'll just point out...
I'll come back to the closing thoughts, obviously, but before that.
I don't know why this brings to mind, but I feel like it's worth a mention because I always think of this when I think of the Matrix, and this is really going to show my age. But you probably don't remember it, Ben, but there was, when the second film came out, there was a great MTV spoof. Do you remember it?
No.
With Justin Timberlake.
Justin Timberlake.
No, I do not.
Will Ferrell?
Will Ferrell and...
Yes, yeah, because he plays the architect in it, and yes, okay, I do remember this. I mean, I saw this years later. Pretty much decades later, actually.
I don't know why I think about that all the time, but I just
It's rent free in my head.
Yeah, I found it hilarious at the time. Like Will Ferrell was the architect being like, concordedly, vis-a-vis. These are just, I don't know what I'm saying, but these are just really long words to make me sound cool.
Do you know when The Matrix was released? The first one?
Yes. Is it
1999.
Oh, 99.
Cool, good wrap up. Loved it.
Okay.
Moving on. I've finished my first trilogy. What am I going to watch next?
I bloody loved it.
Well, I'm going to say...
I've heard there's a fourth.
No!
Don't bother. Oh boy, can't wait to sink my teeth into this.
Okay, so I've obviously been flown in to salvage what remains of this.
We need a maverick. Get me Ben Sheridan.
Well, there we go. Who? Oh, there we go. Oh, it's bloke. Got a house? No.
No.
In this economy.
I thought that guy died out of the alien ship in just his pants.
He was there with a big white flag, willing to tell on his entire race, and I would. Wouldn't even hesitate. Okay, I'm going to go with... Right, that was a really nice thing about existentialism, kind of, and...
Before I go into that,
go on.
Quick question. What would you have picked had I have not barred?
Lord of the Rings.
You would have gone Lord of the Rings, and you'd been right.
And I would have won, and this would have been a really short podcast.
Yes, and that's exactly why we banned it.
Sorry to everyone who's, trying to listen to this on their commute. You ought to stop now. You'd have to talk to someone. Ugh.
God, people
with their weird opinions about barefoot raves and sex parties.
Philosophies.
Perverts. I'd say, all right, that's lovely. You've had the lovely chat about Ghosts in the Machine and existentialism.
Ghost in the Shell, Ben.
Thank you. Yeah. Oh, cool. And after I'd shown you Ghost in the Shell,
okay,
and you're like, yeah, that's really good as well. But then you would have gone, and then you would have said, oh, that was amazing, and it's an anime. Like, yeah, it's an anime film. And you would have gone, brilliant. Is there a live action? And I would have gone, no.
You come in with your DVD box set.
DVD box set, yep. So you got, have you not got a streaming yet? And we would have gone, yeah, we've got a stream. But I had this at home.
Harry's still on VHS.
If they had it on VHS, I would have watched it on VHS.
Okay. Like I said, you've had all of that, and you've had the green code, and you've had the bullet time, and you've had Keanu Reeves. Fantastic. He's one of our most treasured earthlings. I'm going to show you an icon, and I'm going to show you a hell of a redemption arc for a character. Picture the scene, Mr. Alien. It was 1995 when we had the last Batman, which, as we all know, was Batman Forever.
No, I don't know. I've just come to Earth.
Okay. And I would have then looked to the people in the plexiglass, gone, right? And they would have gone, yeah, that's actually completely right. So the last film we had from the Batman franchise was, the last live action, I should say, was very mid, as the kids would say. Skip forward 10 years, and they decided to revive the franchise. Mostly in part because of Casino Royale. Because they realised if you went dark and gritty with something, it sold. So we then got a relatively unknown filmmaker at the time called Christopher Nolan. You, not you, but you, Stacey, may have heard of him. Oh, he's only done... Oh, shush. Sorry, he's only done some great films recently, like Interstellar, which I did understand, and Dunkirk, which I also did understand, and Tenet, which someone might have explained to me.
Which I might have watched 4 YouTube videos trying to figure out what was going on.
Which someone might have tried to tell me about. And he decided to have a crack at it. And he made Batman Begins. He then followed that up with Dark Knight, which has been regularly said is the best superhero film of all time. I disagree, Spider-Man 2, but we'll move past that. Me. Me and people on chat rooms.
The man.
The man says it. Then followed it up with The Dark Knight Rises. I'm going to give not to poo-poo over my opponent here, but everything you said I can give a better answer for. You said you had an iconic character in terms of Neo. I've got Batman, one of the most iconic characters of all time in all of fiction. So much that if you showed them the logo to them, they'll know exactly who you're talking about. My second thing, great score. I will say you have got Rob Zombie in it for one bit of one scene. You also had Rage Against the Machine for a bit of it, and a bit of Rammstein for a bit. And after that goes very orchestral. I've got Hans Zimmer doing some incredible scores, and pretty much invented the whole French horn thing, which is also now on my sex mix. Does it get played? No, but that's up to me.
It's a life choice.
I'd say Agent Smith, great villain, yeah. I've got 2 better ones. I will give the olive branch here. Scarecrow is not the best villain, but it works for the film it's in. But I've got the Joker, and probably I've got the best version of what the Joker has been. I've also got Bane, and I'd say that's the best version of what Bane was. You've got good action scenes. Agreed. I've also got great action scenes. I've got the bank heist, the bank heist from the start of Dark Knight. I have got the tower heist with Batman getting the guy in Singapore. I've got the end fight in Dark Knight Rises. I've got the pole ice lake fight in Batman Begins. Your films, first one, is an absolute classic and it's one of my favourite films. I'll give you that. Well done. The second and third film weren't received as well, and in retrospect have gotten better. All 3 of the films I have given you were all well received upon release. And it wraps that up because it has been regularly cited as one of the greatest superhero trilogies we have had, in a time when superhero trilogies are rare.
Can I ask you a question?
You may.
Do you really think Batman's a superhero?
Yes.
What's his superpower?
He's very smart.
Motherfucking money.
His superpower is he's rich and better than us because of it. Yes, could he use his billions to fight the root cause of crime rather than punching up a drug dealer on a street corner? Yes, he could. But that's not fun. Yes, of course he's a superhero. He's in the Justice League. It's DC. Would you say Neo is a superhero?
Do you think that Batman could be... No, I wouldn't say Neo was a superhero, but I'm not claiming him to be one.
No, but you did say at the end of yours he becomes like a comic book character, and I've got the comic book character. I've got Batman.
That's true, you do have a comic book character, but one that can be defeated by having a soother, you know?
That's having a what?
A soother.
For a soother.
Right, okay.
A lozenge.
All right, a lozenge. I thought you meant like someone who just like nakes him like,
Why are you so angry?
let's talk about it.
No! Talk with my fists!
He does need some therapy, let's be honest.
Yeah, he's got it. He beats up drug dealers on street corners instead of fighting the root cause of crime. Tough on crime, tough on not so tough on the cause of crime.
I mean, Batman doesn't like to talk about his emotions.
No,
unless they're
that's
through
fair
his
enough.
fists.
Okay, so playing devil's advocate again, would you say it's easier for a director like Christopher Nolan to make an iconic film because he has already got an established iconic character, as Stacey's character was made iconic?
Stacey, put your glasses on. You can't see me without them.
He was made iconic due to that trilogy. Batman was big before The Dark Knight.
Okay. What a good-looking question, Harry.
So tall.
So tall. I would say yes. It helped he had an established IP.
But I do appreciate that it was in the dirt. Like,
This is my point. The film franchise part of it was
not the animation, not the games.
No.
There was still a lot of
not the
graphic novels.
Certainly not the graphic novels either. Batman had good.
Yeah.
Batman had a very good following, but I would say a film is the best way you can get it to the average mass of people. Like, my mum has seen The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
My mum does not like Batman. My mum doesn't like anything nerdy. She hates this podcast. She wishes I'd do something else with my life. I could have been a dancer. But I didn't.
And do you feel that the trilogy gets hampered by the tragic death?
No.
No?
Because the performance in it is so good. Like,
I meant as in, like, you feel like Christopher Nolan had a vision for the trilogy, but the vision had to be altered massively due to the events of Legend.
I would say it has got a very tragic ending, number 2, which is bad because it is one of the best performances in film, in my opinion.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's one of the best.
I think that's
It's one of the best performances there has ever been in film. The guy from A Knight's Tale plays the Joker. Let's just let that sink in for a second. The guy from A Knight's Tale plays the Joker. Who would have thought that guy? The guy from 10 Things I Hate About You is the Joker. Great film. So finally, something we agree on.
Yeah.
But Dark Knight Rises isn't a bad film either. Is it the weakest one? Yes. But I always feel like the third film usually is the weakest in a trilogy because you're trying to wrap everything up and you're never going to give someone the ending they think they want. But Bane is still a bloody good character. The whole story around it is still quite good. Like Gotham goes into lockdown. There's a very good fight at the end where it's just cops versus
robbers.
It literally is cops versus robbers. They have a very okay fight. But then, ends really well. Good, satisfying ending. It's got a good roundup for everyone. Jim Gordon gets his moments. Bruce Wayne gets a happy ending. Bane gets shot with a cannon. Everyone gets what they need.
I mean, I will say, there's obviously, no arguing about the talent in that film.
Thank you.
I do.
Thank you. That's it.
I do think, you have to obviously respect Heath Ledger's performance in it and everything like that.
But I will say I respect everyone's performances in it. Christian Bale is a great Batman.
Yeah.
Cillian Murphy is a great Scarecrow. Jim Gordon is played brilliantly by Gary Oldman. Tom Hardy is great Bane. Liam Neeson is great Ra's al Ghul. Also, it set a template. I think so many people tried to do The Matrix afterwards, and they tried to do something like it, and I really think of Underworld for some reason. Because it's the same aesthetic. Like when the Matrix came out, everyone then tried.
Oh yeah, that was the Wish version.
Yeah.
It was.
It was very much the Team U version of the Matrix.
Yeah.
Everyone tried to do the Matrix after that. Everyone tried to go for that palette, the costumes. Everyone tried to go for that sort of
grungy feel.
Everyone went for bullet time. Everyone went for like big guns. Everyone tried to do this sort of.
Do you know why?
Computer odd. Why?
Because it's so iconic.
Is it though?
Yeah.
Does it still work well though?
It doesn't matter. It's a product of its time, but it's iconic. One day it will come back. Look at the Alien franchise; it's come back.
Yeah, which has had a very good release, or did have a very good release a few years ago. When this gets released, who knows? Yes, okay, good for its time. Batman is still good. The Dark Knight trilogy is still good.
Oh, okay. I thought
No
you
one-
meant-
no one-
I thought you meant Batman films in general.
No, there's some of them. Some of them. Yeah,
So
all right.
It happens to us all.
Yeah, happens to everyone. But the Dark Knight trilogy is still good. And, like, it's not of its time. You can watch that now and it will still be relevant. Again, like I was saying, people tried to do The Matrix and it failed. But they tried to do the aesthetic, they tried to do everything like that. People tried to do the Batman again because everyone then went and did like the same plot points, like, oh, the villain knew this thing all along, and they tried to do the same gritty atmosphere. And it worked for those films, sometimes. But the Batman, while The Matrix, yes, had an impact on sci-fi, but the aesthetic and everything like that went away, the Batman still has a massive impact on superhero films because it took them seriously. It also did, maybe to its detriment sometimes, but it then did dark and gritty. The Batman trilogy is one of the reasons why we say dark and gritty, because that was the aesthetic, and it's still the aesthetic now.
I don't think you could get more darker and grittier than the inside of a ship being attacked by
The squid.
Okay, all right. Yeah,
where
but
you literally can't see the sun.
no, I get that, but I can also Alt F4, and I'll take out most machines.
Why, God damn it, why didn't they try that?
Yeah, it's actually a really simple thing to do. Just Alt F4 it. You're like, fuck!
Task manager.
Virus protection software.
Yeah, exactly.
This all started by
Yeah,
a
a good bit of Norton would have solved a lot of these problems. Also, Matrix tries again, and I like the Matrix trilogy. If this was the other way around, I'd be arguing it, but I can't for the sake of the debate and the sake of this podcast. And I like the fact that the Matrix goes into like, oh, what does this mean? When Neo makes the choice between choice and choicelessness, is this what the Matrix wanted him to do all along, or did it not? And it also references Hinduism and like Muslim parables, and like, yeah, that's really good. But also, it's so much. There's so much of this, and it's so.
That's my point. You're taking
it's
it
so
away
scarfy.
with you.
It's so scarfy.
It's life changing. The
It's-
Matrix.
right.
Life changing.
This is the sort of film
We're getting into attack. So I'm going to call a little ceasefire. I'm going to pause it.
right.
Have a little simmer with your thoughts, and then I'll make a decision. Okay, so we've had 5 minutes to
Decompress.
press,
Calm down.
calm down,
Yeah.
stop punching the wall.
Sorry.
Yeah, bloody
Sorry.
knuckles everywhere.
It's a new wall.
So,
We'll get our build around this time.
final thoughts. What would you like to add? Why do you think the Matrix trilogy is the best film, and why should I watch this over Batman?
Well, Alien Sir, I feel like I know you really well. And I think that you'll just really connect with the Neo character way over Batman. Let's face it, you don't relate to this rich, powerful man in Batman, but you do relate to being an underdog who's really into
I've got feelings.
who's really
Right.
into comic books.
You more relate to a sad man.
Who's really into comic books and comes out fighting in the end and is everybody's hero. You've also got an Agent Smith in your ear all the time, Smith being my maiden name for anyone listening, who's always constantly nagging you. It's very true to life. It's very relatable to you.
So I am living the Matrix.
You are living the Matrix.
That sounds like
Wow, great pitch.
hell.
Great pitch, Stace.
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
But you get to have in the film. You get to have
In the film, in the quote, film.
You get to have a really great ending. You are the hero. You can defeat anything. Because the Matrix is all a big, introspective into life itself. And so,
Don't use fancy words on me.
Okay. And if you really, really put your mind to it, you can bend spoons.
Thank you. Ben.
My closing argument is if you wanted to have a very good look at a superhero done well at a time when you haven't heard about it, but Disney, massive oversaturation, you'll get to know them, you'll like them.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they'll probably buy you at some point.
Yeah.
They've probably got your rights now. If you wanted a really good look at really good character study of a superhero which has been around 50, 60 years by that point and had never been done in that way in live action, had never been done in the way that portrayed him and the supporting cast with such gravitas and such seriousness that it made Batman mainstream for everyone, because everyone watched those films. Not only that, you've got an incredible soundtrack. You've got some of the best performances I would say there's been, especially in the 21st century. You've got an incredible aesthetic, and everyone in that has had their careers launched because of it. You've got an Agent Smith in your ear. You've got a Bane sitting in this rocking chair, lad. For the purpose of the podcast, I am in a rocking chair.
Do you really want to side with Bane? I don't think so.
You did RKO me at that concert once.
Last week.
That's my thing. It's Batman. What more can I say? Okay.
Good arguments for both.
Yeah.
So
Current scores.
Current scores. I've won 2 debates, and you two have.
We're both losers.
And because of it, Harry has also won this debate.
Yeah, you're both wrong. I like Audible.
You're both wrong. Jason Bourne franchise. You're welcome.
Jurassic Park.
The new ones.
Yeah. Fucking no. So you brought up a good point about the music / sound design. Now, I feel like you have to have great credit for The Matrix. It does have terrific, it does have memorable music, but I would say Batman, it is more memorable. It's
Yeah.
And the Christopher Nolan, you said it before, the tension.
Yeah.
What's it called?
The Shepherd Tone.
That's it. Yeah, did it launch?
Are you classing
That was
as part
in-
of the soundtrack?
The sound design.
Yeah,
I disagree with the sound. So the end fight, the end fight for me in Batman was not as good as the Matrix. The Matrix end fight is how Dragon Ball Z should be done. It is great. Like the Neo versus Smith with all of the Smiths.
the rain.
The punches are heavy. All of it feels weighty. The fight feels like it's all riding on that. Like the odds are so against him. But the Bane fight, although Batman versus Bane was good, it's so short and it's over. And he doesn't beat Bane, really. Catwoman beats Bane. She shoots him.
Because as we've established, gun better than fist.
Yeah, I mean...
And bigger gun better than small gun, better than fist.
Oh.
I'll give you that. I'll actually 100% give you that. The end fight in Matrix Revelations is fantastic. It's so good.
But I would say the better trilogy, the better argument would have been Batman.
So I win.
Yeah.
Point!
Yeah.
1 point!
I'm so sorry. Are you angry because you couldn't pick Back to the Future?
I am still quite bitter about Back to the Future because we all know it would have won hands down. But
Well, this is actually a good segue onto our next debate we're going to do now. What is the best time travel film? You can't use Back to the Future.
I mean,
It's been a 10.
I think
Agreed.
just like the last debate, you're going to go away and you're going to regret your decision.
They're both good trilogies. I have to say they're both good trilogies, and I had to take off the ones I did because I felt they were too generic.
Would you have accepted the Transformers trilogy if I'd said that?
I would have accepted 1 to 3. Yeah, because
Okay,
it's a trilogy.
right, that was also on my thoughts.
Yeah.
But I felt like I was going to play to you then as a host
Yeah, I
rather than
can't-
me as a...
Yeah, so
I would have said-
off air, I decided I'm not judging it as because they know me very well. They would play to what I like, my strengths. I tried to play it as fair as possible for their argument.
Yeah, this is why we do the rules, because otherwise we're going to just play to that person. This is why we have to have the rules. Stacey, don't give me that look.
And why is your leg twitching so hard?
Where did that machete come from?
Yeah. Oh look, a gun. Right.
Oh, God. Okay, that was really good. Stacey, would you like to take us out with the outro, please?
In your bitter voice.
This has been another great episode of Nerds Against Normality. Thanks for listening to us. Please follow, rate, like, subscribe, all that lovely stuff. And if you have a question, something you want us to debate or review, or a great story from your week, please email us at nerdsagainstnormalitypod@outlook.com. Thanks for listening.
Ta-ra!
Ta-ra.
Bye.